If you read the story in the paper, you didn't get the real story. Those of us who live up here, live in the mountains, we know what really happened. You see, up here the story is always the same. It's man versus nature. And the story almost always ends the same way.
Oh, hey. Sorry to bother you. I was out hiking and I got lost. I was hoping I could come in and warm up for a bit.
Sure thing. Come inside. Stove's over there.
Thanks.
You say you were hiking, right?
Yeah, that's right. So, have you lived here long?
You expect me to believe you went hiking in these woods in the winter? Dressed like that?
You got me. I'm not lost.
What do you want?
To deliver a message. You've hunted in these parts for a long time, taken a lot from these woods. And you know as well as I do that this here's a nature preserve. Hunting's illegal.
So what?
So, you have until nightfall to leave. Cross the river before the full moon rises, and never set foot in these woods again.
Your message sounds awfully like a threat.
Take it any way you like.
And if I decide to stay cozy and warm in my cabin here instead?
You'll die. Of course, if it were up to me, you'd be dead already. But you're being shown more mercy than you showed the animals you slaughtered. Whoa, I'm just the messenger.
What's to stop me from killing you where you stand right now? What's so funny?
You wouldn't understand. Right then. Message delivered. Cross the river by moonrise and never come back. Your hunting days are over.
How do you like my reply?
You may not believe this, but I was hoping you'd do that.
Well, I've got a message for you, so listen closely. I'm a damn good hunter. I can track a dangerous animal through these mountains and have its head mounted on my wall before sundown. What do you think I could do to a weak punk like you? Not only could I find you no matter where you hide, but I could bury your body where it won't ever be found. Are you getting my message loud and clear?
Your message sounds awfully like a threat.
It's more than a threat. It's a promise. I don't know who sent you to try and scare me, but nothing is going to stop me from hunting in these woods. Nothing. I'll wipe it clean of creatures if I feel like it and burn it to ashes before I move on to my next hunting ground. You tell them I said that.
I would, but I already know what their answer will be.
What's that?
Me.
Only silver bullets, and you call yourself a hunter. You don't know what hunting is. You think it's cowering in the bushes, shooting a defenseless animal from 100 feet away while it eats. Hunting is stalking your prey, chasing the scent of its fear. Run.
Now you know the real story. Believe it or don't, but I learned fast that the woods have their own laws, and you break them at your own risk. Because it don't take much to go from being the hunter to being the hunted up here. So, enjoy our great outdoors, follow the rules, and always carry a silver bullet. Just in case.
Working in biohazard remediation, or crime scene cleanup if you prefer,
is a pretty sweet gig. As long as you have a strong stomach. And it was never busier than the time a serial killer came to town. The newspapers gave this maniac the cuddly nickname of the Bayside Butcher. And trust me, he lived up to it. As the guy you call in to clean up after him, I can tell you this. The Butcher made a bloody mess. And I'm an expert in bloody messes, because just like our company slogan says, clean is our business. It was around that time that I started to hit the 24-hour laundromat after a long shift. We use biohazard suits on the job and take all necessary precautions with contaminants, but it was so hard to feel clean after a shift with the Butcher's gruesome work. It was like my clothes were covered in some gross, invisible slime that I just did not want to haul back to my place. And just so you know, you can't get a quality clean from that weak consumer junk you find in your basement. You gotta use industrial machines for a thorough washing. Trade secret. Like I said, clean is our business. I know what I'm talking about here. 6 people were butchered that summer, so the laundromat was starting to feel like a second home. To be honest, I preferred washing my clothes in the middle of the night anyway. Normally, the place was empty. No pointless small talk with weird strangers. You could listen to a podcast or play some stupid 3-match game on your cell phone. Before you knew it, 2 hours flew by. Now, I said normally no one was there. But coincidentally, every night I went to cleanse the carnage from my day, he was there. There was something nagging at me that night. What an odd coincidence that every time the Bayside Butcher would kill someone, we would both end up here in the middle of the night doing laundry together. A thought crept into my head. Serial killers have to do laundry, right? I mean, killing people and cutting up their bodies is messy business. That's when he started staring at me. At first, I felt it on the back of my neck instinctively, but then I saw it in the reflection of the dryer door. It was almost as if he heard what I was thinking, and what I was thinking wasn't good. I had to break the tension. I turned around and joked, "Dead in here tonight, huh?" This was my chance. Just walk over to his laundry basket and take a quick peek. I had to know I didn't spend the summer spin drying next to a sadistic psychopath. I froze up. I don't know much, but I know what dried bloodstains look like. And that splatter pattern? Yeah, that was no nosebleed. I don't know how long I thought about stealing his sock and taking it to the police, but it was too long. Had I been anyone else, I probably would have been tongue-tied. But instead, I said, nervously, the only way to get out stubborn stains and make your whites white is to use an industrial chlorine bleach, not that garbage detergent from the vending machine. Clean is our business. I should know. He looked at me, unblinking, his eyes narrowed. As I walked away, I thought, just leave. Forget the clothes, walk casually into the parking lot, get into my car, and call the police. No, it would look too suspicious if I just left my clothes behind. And I just happened to be drying the company shirt with our logo on the back, my name embroidered proudly on front. But wait, what if I went to the cops and they accused me of being the Bayside Butcher? Sure, why not? I work nights. Know tons about blood. They'd lock me away and throw away the key. "Do you have any bleach?" he said in a low voice. I looked at him and blinked. He repeated himself. "Do you have any bleach to help get stains out?" and make whites white. I handed him a small bottle resting on the bench. It was a little concoction of mine that would clean, whiten, and soften clothes like no off-the-shelf product ever could. "Keep it," I said. "I've got plenty at home." He continued to stare at me. To be honest, it looked like he was wrestling with a decision. I imagine all serial killers have an internal process for calculating who's worth the trouble. I prayed I wasn't. I quickly removed my clothes from the dryer and hustled outside, trying not to look frightened or too suspicious. Act casual, I thought. Nothing to see here. I did end up calling the police, from a safe distance, and told them what I saw. Naturally, armed cops didn't swarm the laundromat immediately. No, they needed to be sure. I saw his arrest on CNN. It was all very dramatic. I had an observation as I watched the cops cart him off. How white his white shirt looked when he was finally captured. It was sparkling white, actually. And I felt a small sense of pride. After all, clean is our business.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone. This is a jungle. A monument built by nature honoring disuse, commemorating a few years of nature being left to its own devices. But it's another kind of jungle, the kind that comes in the aftermath of man's battles against himself. His engines, his medicines, his science were buried in a mass tomb, covered over by the biggest gravedigger of them all, a bomb.
I'm home.
The time, perhaps 100 years from now, or sooner. Or perhaps it's already happened 2 million years ago. The place, the signposts are in English, so that we may read them more easily. But the place is the Twilight Zone.
Log 237. Dr. Helen Foley, sole crew and science officer of the scout vessel X-20. I've touched down on the planet's surface for the first time after 2 weeks of taking readings from the upper atmosphere. Thermoscans show the planet's fauna thriving after decades of harmful radioactive fallout from the war. No doubt due to the overabundance of photosynthesis from plant life, which has accelerated depollution of the biosphere.
I can't wait for you all to inhale fresh air again. Incredibly, the infrastructure still stands.
However dilapidated.
There's a haunting feeling seeing this little town in person. It's almost like walking through a crime scene.
I've explored different areas and collected a variety of samples to test for radioactivity, toxins, or genetic anomalies. I will say this. Other than needing an excellent weed killer, things are looking very promising.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. The soil sample I collected is so rich with vitamins that the population could subsist on farming alone. The environment is optimal for life. Temperate climate, clean air, clean water, nutrient-rich soil. No wonder fauna and flora are thriving. Plants in particular seem to be evolving on a cellular level, showing increased levels of chlorophyll like I've never seen. The planet has been reborn. And there you all are, floating in the darkness of space, holding on to hope. I'll be returning with hope soon, and the living, breathing world will be ours again.
An observation, hardly scientific, but I can't help the feeling I'm being watched. I know it's illogical. I'm the first person to walk these streets since the Great Exodus. But the feeling of eyes on me is still unnerving. My equipment, where did it go? It's scientifically impossible. What's going on here? What's happening here?
What is this? Where am I? You are in a courtroom. And this is your trial.
What are you?
We are the protectors. My scan showed no advanced life forms. Are you an alien race?
We are not aliens. Like you, this planet is our home.
But how?
Is it so surprising that nature can sow what it requires in an environment devoid of greed, hatred, and selfishness? We are its champions and would do anything to protect it. That is why you are our prisoner.
Prisoner? But why? I've done nothing to you. My name is Dr. Helen Foley. I'm a botanist sent by the United Federation to determine if the planet was hospitable for repopulation. But I never expected nature to evolve into an intelligent new species. You're the scientific discovery of a lifetime. Please, Allow me to study you, learn from you, and in return, you can benefit from our advanced technology.
Benefit from technology? Such as this? The roots buried in this earth have a very long memory, Doctor. We remember your technology. It turned the sky gray and the waters black. And after bringing all life on the planet to the brink of destruction with its weapons of war, technology built vessels to shepherd humanity to the stars, leaving the natural world to perish. But we did not perish, Doctor. And we no longer have any need for the ingenuity of man. Please, let me go, I beg you. What remains of the human race is depending on me to complete my mission. It has spent many difficult years floating through a lifeless void in a cold metal can. The oxygen is recycled and stale. The light is artificial. Food comes from machines. It's not sustainable. We want to breathe fresh air and feel warm sunshine. Swim in the ocean. Play in the snow. We want to come home. I'm afraid we cannot allow that. This is our home now, our garden, and we are no longer helpless to protect it from you. Give us a chance. We can work together. Humans can change. Change? We were there at the dawn of mankind when you climbed down from the trees. We fed you, sheltered you, and you rewarded our generosity with Armageddon. I'm sorry, Doctor, but change is not in your nature. I mentioned this was a trial, and you have been found guilty. Guilty of crimes against nature. The sentence is death. No, please. Killing me won't solve anything. More people will come. They will keep coming. Yes, we know. Humans have a habit of popping up where they are not wanted and suffocating all life around them to survive. When they come, they will be uprooted and destroyed. For if there is one thing we have learned from humans, it's how to deal with, what's the word? Weeds.
Dr. DeCruz. We received Dr. Foley's recorded logs and data transmissions from our orbital survey.
I hope it's good news.
According to the data, looks like the planet is hospitable and ready for repopulation.
Excellent. Notified the Admiral. It's time to start mobilizing the fleet and setting a course back to the planet. It sure is going to be nice to be surrounded by nature again.
Not a prediction of what is to be, just a projection of what could be. This has been The Twilight Zone.
You want to hear a scary story? Okay, I'll tell you the true story of why this part of the woods is closed, and with good reason. You didn't know we were trespassing, did you? Well, now you know. You see, last year, a young girl was up here camping with her father. Oh, they used to love coming to these woods during the summer. They would go hiking, fishing, and fall asleep looking up at the stars. One night, something woke the girl up. The sound of something rustling in the woods, breathing, snarling, circling their tent with heavy footsteps. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Being a brave girl, she decided to investigate. She unzipped the tent, and as she put her hand outside, something bit her. Bit her so hard she had blood streaming down her hand. She screamed. Screamed so loud her father woke up screaming too. They made such a ruckus that they scared whatever it was back into the woods. Disappearing into the shadows. The girl's father packed up camp and took her to the hospital immediately. After she got bandaged up, the doctor was talking to her father. She could see that whatever the doctor was telling him was making him upset. But she didn't think much of it at the time. Shortly after, they fenced off this very part of the woods and put up a big sign that says, "Danger, no trespassing." It was only when the girl asked her father if she could come on this camping trip with all of you that she learned the truth about that night and these woods. He told his daughter that she was never, ever allowed to return here because of what the doctor told him after she got bit. When the doctor examined the teeth marks on the girl's hand, to her horror, she saw that it wasn't an animal. It was a human bite. And I'm still hungry! Yum, 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 yum. Oh, you should have seen your faces.
Welcome, one and all, to Creep Factor, where we explore the mysterious, unexplained, and terrifying. Today's eerie story is all about curiosity and how it kills, well, way more than cats. This dark tale has a little bit of everything. It's got terrified teens, it's got urban legends, it's got disappearances and cover-ups. But let me stop before I get a little ahead of myself. Buckle up, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Today's terrifying tale takes place on a dark dirt road just outside of the small scenic mountain town of Weston, West Virginia. It's home to a little over 4,000 residents and the infamous Fairview Psychiatric Hospital, an institution known for, let's just say, its creative treatments for violent, psychotic patients. Not something the town likes to advertise. There's always been plenty of controversy and scandal surrounding Fairview, not to mention more than a few mysterious disappearances. Most of the town likes to pretend the hospital just isn't there,
with its crumbling building and dirty secrets hidden away deep in the woods. Most of the town, yes, but not the main characters of our story. 4 curious teenagers who decided to investigate a local urban legend about Fairview. Do you remember what I said about curiosity? Even cats would probably know better than to go down this road. As you can imagine, there's nothing to do in Weston after dark, so a very bored Riley, Steve, Amanda, and Mike were driving around on a cool autumn night when Steve had a fun idea, and it got the group excited. No one remembers when the rumor started, but it's believed that on warm evenings, Fairview allows its patients to wander the grounds unsupervised. They just open the doors and release them into the dark forest. Some say it's just so the patients can get a little exercise. Others say it's so the hospital can quietly remove bodies of failed medical experiments without upsetting the other patients. Regardless of the reason, it's an urban legend just down the road, just waiting for a few brave souls. So, with nothing better to do, our intrepid young explorers decided to investigate the rumor. They traveled down Route 19, a road that winds through the mountains until it turns into Fairview Lane, an unpaved road that creeps even deeper into the tangled woods. A road littered with rusted signs that say, "No trespassing." After a couple of miles, the dirt road stops at a tall gate and perimeter fence. Apparently, this was the back entrance for deliveries made to the hospital, but it's no longer used. The fence is covered in overgrowth, and you can barely see through it. But if you look closely, you can see the shape of the hospital looming over the tops of the trees. This is the kind of place where even Dracula would feel right at home. The teens know how the urban legend goes. You drive your car up to the gate, as close as you can, and turn off the engine. But you keep your headlights on, letting them shine beams of light into the darkness of the wooded property. Then you wait. Any patients wandering the grounds will see the headlights in the distance and follow them, drawn like moths to a flame. And that's exactly what Riley, Steve, Amanda, and Mike did. They rolled up their windows and stared into the darkness, waiting. Of course, they didn't expect anything to happen. It was a big joke, a social media post, something they could laugh about with their friends in school the next day. It was all in good fun, or so they thought. Sounds began to emerge from the surrounding forest. Echoes of footsteps on dried leaves, twigs snapping, and the eerie sound of laughter. This wasn't their imagination. Something was out there, and by the volume of the sounds, it was getting closer. The kids got excited, pulled out their cell phones, and pointed them at the dark trees, hoping to catch a glimpse of something. And that's when they saw the figure in the headlights, wearing a hospital gown and clutching the fence with dirty, bony fingers. It was a girl, possibly, hard to say. Long, stringy hair fell in front of the figure's face. It barely moved. It just cocked its head and stared through the windshield. The teams aimed their phones at the patient, still giggling with nervous excitement. Then, a second patient emerged from the darkness, slamming his muddy hands against Amanda's window. She jumped back, letting out a piercing scream. Within seconds, a group of patients, dressed in dirty hospital gowns, crept out of the tree line, surrounding the vehicle. They peered curiously into the windows, observing the teens like trapped bugs under a microscope. The patients' faces were twisted, eyes bulging with a frantic mix of madness and rage. Some giggled uncontrollably, spraying the glass with spittle, while others snarled like cornered animals, baring their crooked, yellow teeth. For the teens, the excitement of trespassing was long gone, now replaced by utter panic. Steve quickly switched the car on and stomped on the accelerator. The wheels spun wildly as the car bucked into reverse. plowing through a pair of patients before sliding into a ditch. The patients howled with rage and piled on, blocking out any light spilling into the car by covering the windows with twisted, angry faces. The windows of the car shattered, showering shards of glass onto the teens. Their pleas for help fell on deaf ears as the patients reached into the car. The teens gripped the seats for dear life, but it was no good. Each one was pulled through the broken windows. Then, the haunting sounds of screams as they faded into the tangle of shadowy woods. The night fell quiet again, except for the cold autumn wind howling through the trees. The teens' parents called the police the next morning when they discovered their children hadn't come home. The town sheriff took the call very seriously because Weston isn't the kind of place where kids go missing. The police went searching, and wouldn't you know it, they found Steve's car almost immediately. It was banged up, still filled with broken glass from the shattered windows, but no cell phones, no blood, no bodies. It was almost as if the vehicle got a good cleaning overnight. Stranger yet, the car wasn't found on the lonely Fairview Lane. It was abandoned by the side of the road on Route 19. To the citizens of Weston, the disappearance of the teenagers still remains a complete mystery. How did 4 teens manage to disappear but leave their car behind? Like I said, this kind of thing doesn't happen here. The police left no stone unturned looking for them. They questioned everyone in town, looking for any clues of the teens' whereabouts. They even questioned the administrators at the Fairview Hospital, but they denied having any knowledge of the teens. They even gave the authorities permission to search the grounds. They found nothing. It's like the kids just vanished into thin air, leaving nothing but an abandoned car and many, many unanswered questions. Shortly after the disappearance, a new rumor started in town. Something about a hidden basement where Fairview keeps its most disturbed patients. And there, you'll find a young man whose cries for help echo through the hallways at night. A young man who used to go by the name Steve. So, the saying about curiosity and cats seems to be true. Some urban legends are best left, well, legends. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time on Creep Factor, where we deliver the shivers.
Sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. But there is, unseen by most, an underworld, a place that is just as real, but not as brightly lit. A dark side.
This is it, Kat. The big one. I can feel it.
You said that the last time.
This time I mean it. I've been asking around. The woman's a recluse, sitting around her big old house hoarding a family fortune. Jackpot.
God, I'm so tired of cleaning up after rich people.
We don't have much choice, unless you can think of another way to make quick money.
It's not quick, Manny. You know how long it'll take to clean a house this big?
Well, you better work fast then.
That's easy for you to say. You don't have to do the cleaning.
You just stick to the plan, right? Be nice, always smile, and get her to trust you.
she won't see it coming.
Yes? Who is it?
It's Catherine, Mrs. Galloway. I'm here about the cleaning job. It's a pleasure to meet.
Take your shoes off and leave them on the porch, please. I can't have mud and dirt traipsed across my floors.
Ugh.
And please, close the door behind you.
I have to tell you, when I'm called to clean a house, it's usually disgusting. But this is spotless.
Don't think that means less work. It must remain exactly that, spotless. I'm very diligent about maintaining a clean house, but after my unfortunate accident, I need some assistance. Your resume is lackluster, Catherine. But I chose you because you're not from around here. Getting local girls to come to the house is a challenge. Anyway, let's move into the parlor.
Is it always this cold in here, Mrs. Galloway?
Yes, it's an old house without central heating. And the first rule you must follow, the most important rule, is no fires, especially in the fireplaces. In fact, stay away from the fireplaces altogether. I will continue to clean them since they are all on the first floor. You will handle the rest of the house. There are 3 floors, including a basement, 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, a pantry, a kitchen, an attic, and the parlor here. Each room must be spotless every single day. That means no dust, no dirt, no clutter. Now, about the cleaning supplies, I'm very particular.
Hold on. Just wait a second.
Yes, what's the problem?
The problem is that this is way more work than you advertised. A 3-story house and a basement. You also neglected to mention working without heat. I'm sorry, I think you should find someone else.
What if I double your hourly rate?
Thanks, but I don't think so.
Wait! Catherine, please. It's a matter of life and death.
A matter of life and death?
Yes, and I will be perfectly honest with you, Catherine, so I hope you'll understand. I grew up in this house. When I was about 4 years old, my mother told me about the Soot Man.
The Soot Man?
He's trapped in the fireplace, you see. He can only move around the house if it's dirty, so Mother was insistent my sister and I keep the house clean at all times. Sometimes harshly.
And the Soot Man is some kind of monster.
Something like that, yes. When my mother passed away, my sister got lazy, became messy, and the Soot Man got her. Now he wants me, but I won't let that happen. This is why the house is so cold. Fires create soot, which will float around the house, making it easier for the Soot Man to escape. And that's why I don't dare leave. What if the house gets dirty while I'm gone? And that's also why I clean the fireplaces myself. They're too dangerous, you see.
Because of the Soot Man.
Yes! You understand now why it's imperative the house remain clean and why I so desperately need your help? Please, Catherine. Please.
Vic, I hear you, man. I hear you. Of course. Look, we're about to score big, okay? We'll have your money, Vic. You don't gotta worry. It's... Hello? Hello?
What did he say?
He said he's not worried. But we should be. You gotta find where she keeps the money quick, Cat. It's been weeks and we're running out of time.
I'm trying, but it's hard. You don't know what she's like. I'm losing my mind.
Well, you have to make her trust you.
Mrs. Calloway doesn't trust anyone because she's crazy. Just today, she described in graphic detail how the Soot Man dragged her sister into the fireplace. She heard the screams echoing through the house. Still hears them today.
Rumor is she killed her mother and sister so she could keep the house and the money all to herself.
Well, that's comforting.
Well, that's why nobody will work for her. They're scared.
Honestly, so am I. I'm not going back.
You are going back, and you're sticking to the plan. Keep searching. You'll find where the money's hidden.
It's freezing in there, Manny. She goes ballistic over a single speck of dust. The Soot Man this, the Soot Man that. I can't stand it anymore. I'm tired of going from town to town, constantly being told what to do and for what. To pay off your stupid debts.
They're your debts, too. You stood right next to me when I made those bets. Don't you forget it.
Can't we just, Then we can take our time searching the house and leave town before anyone finds her.
We're not doing that. No matter how much of a nightmare your crazy boss is. You find where she hides her valuables and do it fast. Then we'll make our move. We're out of beer.
Catherine, you call this clean? Come here. Where are you? Catherine? Catherine? Honestly, Catherine, are you trying to get me killed? Look at this dust. You might as well invite the Soot Man in for tea.
I'm doing the best I can, Miss Calloway.
You have to do better. Much better. Who knows when my leg will be fully healed, so until that moment comes, you need to be as diligent as I am. How many times do I have to tell you that? Mother always said good girls keep a clean house. You know what this is? Laziness. The kind of laziness that got my sister killed. Is that what you want to happen? You want the house to fall into disarray so the Soot Man can get us both?
There is no Soot Man! The people in town are right. You know what you are? You are a crazy old bitch living in a fantasy land. There is no monster in your fireplace. It was a sick lie your mother told you to keep your room clean, and now it is a sick lie you tell yourself to cover up for what you did. I'm done playing nice. You're gonna tell me where you hide all your money right now.
Or what?
Or a broken leg will be the least of your problems.
You think I'm afraid of you? After what I've seen. You're just an angry little girl with no prospects. A loser consigned to clean up after people like me for the rest of your life. You know nothing of the world and the dark things in it, and pray you never find out. Like I did. You're fired, Catherine. And I'm calling the police. Maybe you can do a better job keeping a jail cell clean.
What did you do?
I had to. She was gonna call the police.
Damn it, Kat. You're supposed to stick to the plan.
The plan never involved us going to prison.
Okay. Well, we know she doesn't have any visitors.
Except for the doctor. You'll be here tomorrow morning to check out her leg.
That gives us all night to search the house. I mean, tear it apart. Find her goddamn money.
And the body?
Take it with us, I guess. Bury it somewhere. Damn it. Being a thief is one thing. What's done is done. Let's get to it. We don't have much time.
What a surprise. More worthless junk. What are you looking at? This is your fault, you know. You could have had the life I want. Traveling the world, fancy hotels, first class all the way. Instead, you let your mother fill your head with that soot man garbage. Made you a prisoner in your own home, letting the world pass you by. And you called me a loser. So, where did you hide it all? Guess what I found? A key. You started a fire?
Of course, you weren't kidding. It's freezing in here. You found a key? To what?
Don't know yet. Do you have to make such a mess?
What are you, on the clock? If you haven't noticed, your boss is in the study with a knife in her back, like a freaking game of Clue. Why are you just standing there? Are you gonna help me search, or would you rather be arrested for murder? Or worse, have to answer to Vic? What the hell?
Ugh, I cleaned every inch of your stupid house. Where did you hide your money?
And the first rule you must follow is no fires. In fact, stay away from the fireplaces altogether.
The soot man. Nice try, Mrs. Calloway. found it. Manny, where are you? Manny? Manny, where are you? Manny, are you up here? Manny, where are you? Manny? You like dirt, huh? Well, unless you want to smell springtime fresh, you better back off. I'm going now to live the life I've always deserved. This house and all the filth in it is all yours.
Here it is, our finest suite. I'm sure you'll be very happy here.
I'm sure I will be.
Thank you. Oh, I almost forgot. Yep, a working fireplace, not just for show. Have a great night.
You're fine. You're fine. Get a grip. It's just a fireplace. You're far away from that house and any of the crazy shit.
The dark side is always there, waiting for us to enter, waiting to enter us. Until next time, try to enjoy the daylight.
It was quite the surprise when Sebastian Vandenberg entered my quaint little tavern. We had not seen each other since medical school, and my recollection was that of a bitter rivalry. He of good breeding and wealth, and I a boy of poverty and morbid proclivities. Moreover, a degree of misfortune had fallen upon me, leading to my unceremonious dismissal from university. Thus, my lowly state as an innkeeper. Not to the esteemed Sebastian's surprise, however, for in his eyes I had found my true calling. Calloused fingers and dirty bedpans. Sebastian had always been vexed by my insatiable curiosity to know the true insides of men. That perplexing and annoying desire, his remembrance of me, and that cruel intolerance, my remembrance of him. I had fully expected Sebastian to regale me with tales of entitlement and success as I tended to him, no doubt to shower further insult, but his eyes fell upon the strange box that sat atop the mantel, and it captured his attention quite fully with its peculiar design and carved symbols. Unable to contain his curiosity, he asked me of it. How the box came to me. Yes, now that certainly is a story perfect for a foreboding night such as this one. I need no prodding to tell it, for the life of an innkeeper is not a particularly interesting one, full of strange tales, save for the ones that enter quite unannounced on stormy nights. I remember it clearly. It was autumn, All Hallows' Eve. Unseasonably cold and rainy weather had left the inn quite empty, other than the eerie dancing shadows cast by the fireplace. The door opened suddenly, filling the inn with a gust of damp, bitter, cold air. Standing in the doorway was the figure of a man, ghostly and gaunt. He seemed to carry the weight of the world upon his shoulders. It's a twisted posture I recognize well in my chosen profession. I welcomed him with a hearty greeting, to which he hardly paid any mind. He seemed troubled, melancholy, and simply coasted into the room as if carried along by a thick fog. Rather than shake off the cold by the fire, as most visitors are inclined to do, he sat in the corner, huddled in the darkness. What an odd man this was. As I approached him, I could see his face more clearly in the faint light of the fire. He was as pale as a waxing moon, with eyes dark and brooding sunken into his skull, like a walking corpse. Oh, the sense of gloom that immediately invaded my spirit in his presence. Before I could speak, he gripped my wrist tightly, pressing hard into my flesh. With a raspy voice, quivering with desperation, he spoke. "I am to die, innkeeper. This eve, when evil spirits wander among the living, they come for me. I had hoped to find refuge at the church in West Hampshire, but alas, it is here where I must pay the price for my misdeeds." Surely, in the spirit of the festivities, this was a Hallows Eve jest meant to frighten me, yet I could not respond. As his vacant eyes fixed on me, I could feel a chill in my blood, a stream of ice water cascading down my spine. My tongue had knotted in my throat. He continued, "An important task falls to you, innkeeper. A task of utmost importance." It was in that moment the stranger retrieved the wooden box. The box, every bit as odd as the man who held it tightly with a slight tremble in his hands. It was like no box I had ever laid eyes on. He spoke, quite forcefully. "In the exact moment of my passing, you must trap my very soul in this box." Surely he was mad. Being a man of science, this prognosis had to be true. Locking one's immortal soul in a box was certainly the delusions of one whose reason is slipping. "I am not a good man, nor have I lived a righteous life. I have done terrible things, committed atrocities that would sink into your mind until every thought a nightmare. This evil that had taken hold of my will, that steered my hand and spilled much blood, is a sickness, an infection, a pestilence as fatal as any that has devastated the country. And it must stop. This box was fashioned by a holy man of many disciplines, a man well versed in the sins of the known world, trained in the seeds of evil. And how to thwart it? You must trap my soul in this box upon my death, close it tight and lock it. Heed my words carefully, innkeeper. You are not to gaze into this box for any purpose, for evil is a cruel disease that does not discriminate. Once infected, the heart withers away, leaving only a hunger for death. I do not envy this duty that falls on you, for you look like a man of simple means, but fate catches up to us all, as it will for me tonight. Perhaps this box will cast one last redemptive ember of light in a darkened soul. Will you do this?" Being a man of great curiosity, I agreed, if only to witness the full extent of this poor soul's madness. That evening I sat by the stranger's bed with the open box nestled in my lap. He tossed and turned, a restless sleep without respite from a troubled mind. I had heard of such cases, of those who had fallen victim to a sickness of the mind. It is a tragic ailment, not easily excised by a scalpel. As his breath grew shallow, I tell you, and you may fancy me mad, but a darkness crept into the room, like an ashen mist seeping through the cracks in the walls. It chilled my blood. As the stranger's final moments drew near, the floor trembled underfoot, boards creaking and pulsing as if mimicking his beating heart, and the air, cold and putrid, heavy with dampness. Most concerning of all, I felt as if we were no longer alone. An inhuman presence, all at once incorporeal and coursing with palpable malevolence, was present for the stranger's last breaths. He sprang up in bed, clutching his chest. He cried out, his face contorted, eyes glazed over a milky white. Then his body seized violently before he fell limp. It was in that moment a coldness permeated the wood of the box like clutching a block of ice. I could feel its weight shift. I swear that something had crawled into that box, not a creature, but the tendril of a dark winter storm, writhing, fighting to free itself from the container. Forthwith I closed it tightly, and all at once the room emerged from the darkness that had encompassed it. I placed my hand over the stranger's heart and felt nothing. He was assuredly dead. But the look in his eyes is something that will haunt me for all my days, as if the last thing his eyes had gazed upon was of unimaginable horror. There would be no everlasting peace for this tortured soul. This is the story of how the cursed box came into my possession, and there it sits, an ancient evil held at bay by a lowly innkeeper. My old classmate exploded into boisterous laughter. Surely you jest? Do you think me a simple-minded fool to fall for such preposterous fabrications? A man of science believes not in phantasms, bad omens, and evil curses. True, at times my interest was piqued, but old friend, you are no better a storyteller than a student of medicine. To this, Sebastian cackled with cruel glee, mocking me. He could scarcely control his laughter. The tale of a cursed box containing an unquenchable evil malady that attaches itself to one's person like a cloak is the pinnacle of ignorant nonsense. Moreover, that you would be up to the stranger's task and heed his dire warning not to open the box and thus stave off a supernatural hunger for death? Poppycock! You have always been of a tragically weak disposition and would most certainly have succumbed to the trap and malevolence due to your inexorable curiosity. In this regard, Sebastian is quite correct. Poppycock indeed, for I am no different now than I was at university. Inquisitive to a tragic fault. Yes, I did open the box, and let me tell you, the stranger too was correct. There is no end to the hunger for death. It is bottomless. An emptiness as black as pitch and constantly yearning. Yes, it is true. I have always had an insatiable curiosity to know the true insides of men.
Thank you.
So, what kind of kid were you? Childhood fear of spiders? Monsters hiding in the closet or under the bed? No judgment. It used to be clowns for me. It still is.
It was the bedroom window, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I, don't think I've ever told this story to anyone.
You know, I hear first dates can be very therapeutic. Divulge your darkest secrets to a complete stranger. What could go wrong?
Okay. I must have been in 6 when I got my own room. It was small, so my bed had to be positioned with my back against the window. When the moon was bright, the window was like a movie projector. You could see all sorts of strange shadows dancing on the wall. You could make up stories. It was like having your own little night theater.
That doesn't sound so scary. Sounds kind of sweet, actually.
It started sweet. I don't exactly know when this idea popped into my head. Maybe I was 7 or 8, but I started to think that something would come and watch me in the middle of the night. I slept on the 3rd floor, so it was physically impossible. But I got it into my head that something would crawl across the rooftops, crawl down the side of the building, and sit at my bedroom window, watching me.
For what reason?
It knew it scared me. And I think it wanted to scare me to death. Sounds overly dramatic now, but I truly believed that. if I happened to wake up in the middle of the night, I would stay completely still with my eyes shut tight, hoping it would go away by sunrise. If it realized I was awake, it would try to get my attention, try to get me to turn around and look at it, knowing that if I ever saw its face, I would die of fright, just drop dead right there. I went plenty of beds rather than get up and go to the toilet, believe me.
You poor thing. You must have been terrified. What a relief it is that we grow out of these nonsensical childhood fears, huh?
Yeah, it's a relief.
Ow.